Hi guys, welcome back to At Home with Holly. My name's Holly and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. It's tomato day. So I'm going to take you guys through all of the tomato varieties and I'm going to be starting this year for 2025. I am kind of a little more on purpose. Some years I will just try a whole bunch of varieties, just trying to find my favorite one. Some years I'm trying to focus more on putting away, preserving. So ones that are really good for preserving. This year's kind of a mixture of both, but I'm very on purpose. I'm going for the ones with the best flavor and high production. So some of them are just flavor and some of them are production because I found that when you mix all of that together, your sauces and your soups and your things all taste really, really good. So that's what I'm going for. So right now I'm just taking the end of my marker and I'm making 3 little divots. What I'm going to do is instead of starting 1 seed per cell, this year I'm going to do, or just doing like multi-sowing where you put like 7 or 8 seeds in there. At the end of the seed starting season, my goal is to have 1 strong plant from each of these varieties. And one of them I need 2, one for my neighbor. The cool thing about getting your own seeds is you have access to varieties that you can't get even at local garden stores. Some of these varieties, you can only get them if you grow them yourself. So I grew some plants for her last year, and she was like, I need another one of that, please. So plant starts for her. So anyway, I'm going to be doing 3 seeds per cell. And that way, I'm sure all 3 of them will probably germinate. And I will separate them and I'll probably have 1 or 2 of each. And then I'll give them away to friends that are growing. And the rest of them I'll keep for myself. I'm also going to change the way I grow them this year. So all kinds of fun things coming for this year. But okay, I've got my little divots. They're not really deep holes, just little divots for the seeds to rest in. So let me take you through the varieties. So I am 8 weeks out from my last frost date. And I would say that if I didn't have the ability to raise my shelves so that I can accommodate for very large plants, I do think that starting your tomatoes inside, usually 6 to 7 weeks inside, is good because they're going to get very large. Now, I don't mind if they get large because I'm going to plant them very deep. And so I'm okay with them getting large. I have shelves that can accommodate them. If I didn't have shelves that could go up and down in height or the room or the space, I would probably be waiting another 2 weeks. I really think 7 weeks is probably the sweet spot. But I've got some stuff I need to do next week. So we're at 8 weeks and that's where we're at. So let me get my reading glasses on because I'm over 40 and that's where we're at. Okay, let's see. So let me take you through the varieties that we've got. So I've got them separated by category. So we're going to start with the cherry tomatoes. Now, my seed collection is getting large. So this year, before I ordered seeds, well, after I ordered seeds, really, I tried to do a little bit before I ordered seeds, but mostly after I ordered seeds, I went through and I paper clipped the similar seed packets together because what's happening is I keep going, oh, I like that. I should do that. I should get more of that. And so every time I went online to order seeds, I kept ordering more. So there are some that I have like, 3 or 4 packets of. I don't need that many packets of the tomato seeds. So the first one, so anyway, I paper clipped them together so that I have the oldest ones in front so that I use them appropriately. Okay, so the first one we've got is the black cherry tomato. We're going to do the cherry tomatoes first. So these are indeterminate cherry tomatoes. So that means indeterminate means they will keep growing long. So I usually will do a single stem on these, which means I'll pull off all the little suckers along the way. It's not going to get bushy. It's going to get long. As long as it has a support system, it's going to keep growing until your first frost in the fall. So I'm going to grow them up in a trellising system, and I'll take you guys with me. So these are our indeterminate, meaning they're going to grow up. And these are our cherry tomatoes. So the first one is the black cherry tomato. We'll plant as we talk. So I am not a huge fresh tomato lover. For like on salads or sandwiches. I am a fresh tomato lover when it's in pico. I love the taste of it that way, but I am not a huge fan of just eating tomatoes out of my garden. So I do like the sweetness that the cherry tomatoes bring. And so I do like to make fresh salsa during the summers, and I like to make um, preserved salsas and stuff as well. So I know a lot of people love the cherry tomatoes for the fresh eating, but that's not my jam. But when I have friends come over or kids when they come over, they love it. So I love having people come to my house and just walk through my garden and eat as they go. I love having an organic garden. I love growing enough to share. I think you should spread the knowledge and the love. And where else are people going to try these tomatoes if not in our home garden? So the next one is the Sunray cherry tomato. And so this one is super sweet, which is why it's a good, some of the paste tomatoes are really acidic, which is lovely for what they're for, but it's nice to have that balance sometimes. So Sunray is going to go over here. So again, this is an indeterminate cherry tomato, delicious, super sweet, and very prolific. The next one is Tropical Sunset. This one on the back, I'm trying to read it. It says perfect balance of sweetness and acidity. We'll take it. So we're going to get the Tropical Sunset planted. Where did I put Tropical Sunset? There you go. Definitely pre-labeling is helpful. Because again, sometimes a girl thinks she labeled stuff, but she doesn't. And then you're like, I wonder what that was. Without fail, even though I am being so careful to label all these, without fail, something will get planted in my garden and I'll think, well, that's a cherry tomato. And then it'll grow and nope, it's a paste. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how. So just the fun. Okay, the next one is the one that my friend was like, I need that one again. So Champagne Bubbles Tomato. This is super sweet too. And it was really prolific. Pretty small fruit. Super delicious though. Even I, who does not really like fresh eating tomatoes, was like, this one's pretty good. This one's pretty good. Okay, where did I put Champagne Bubbles? Okay. So definitely want to get this one to make sure we have. Now last year, I have cats. And last year, I don't let my cats come down. My grow room that we're in right now is actually in a storage room in my basement. And I keep the door closed and I don't let them come in here. Somehow they got in here last year. And one of my cats did decapitate a few tomato plants. So that's why I'm not opposed to having a few extras growing, just in case she gets down here. Oh, cats are fun. Okay, the next category is going to be, what are these? These are our slicers. So for our slicers, we have, I'm not sure how you pronounce Dr. Witchy, Dr. Witchy. We have this one. This one is huge. I think it's got a nice balanced flavor. Again, not my favorite to eat on a sandwich, but my friends that want a tomato sandwich, they like this. So this is a slicer. This is an indeterminate. I think all the ones we're starting right now, maybe indeterminates. Yes. I usually do my determinants a little bit later. Determinate just means they're going to grow to a determined size and they're going to kind of set on all their fruit at once. So these indeterminates, they're going to put on fruit little by little throughout the summer. And that doesn't bother me because I will pull them off, use what I want for the fresh stuff, and then throw the rest in a freezer bag and get to it when I get to it. That's how I like to preserve them. But if you want to preserve them while they're still fresh, then perhaps the determinate would be a better variety for you because they're going to bush out. You're going to need a huge, strong type cage system. But most of them are going to come on ripen within a week or two of each other. So that's really nice if you're trying to get it all in at once. I do not want it all in at once. I do not have the time. time or mental capacity to preserve them all at once. I need to throw them in a freezer bag and pretend that they're not there until I'm ready to deal with them. So this next one is gold medal. We grew this one last year. This one did super well. So I'm excited to have this one again. Again, a slicing tomato, indeterminate. All of these are indeterminate, like I said, but slicing tomato. This is like, I like the slicers that when you, I don't like a whole lot of the jelly juice, and I want like a meaty slicer tomato. So the slicers that I'm choosing are meaty. Like they do not have a lot of like jelly, loosey goosey stuff in there. It is meat. And that is what I like. That is too many seeds. Okay. There we go. Okay. So this is gold medal. I can't believe we're already here at tomato season. I mean, granted, I'm like a week ahead, but we are here, guys. It's happening. That's why once I realized that we were so close, I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. I've got to get these plants out. I've got to get my watering system. I'm going to do some drip irrigation systems this year. Again, I've had all the parts and pieces to all these sitting in my garage, and now is the time. So I realized I have to plant these because I have projects to do, and I can't be down here in the grow room when I've got projects to do. Okay, so the next one is the Paul Robeson tomato. This is a slicer, but this is like a meaty one. And honestly, it's not even the meat, it's the flavor. This has like a almost smoky, not like liquid smoky, but almost like earthy. It's just really good. And I like to mix all of these tomatoes together to put into my sauces and stuff. I will say, personal opinion, I love Emma Gardner. All of his seeds germinate well and all the things. I'm not a huge fan of rare seeds germination rates. Most of the time, I think it's user error if I can't get things to germinate, but consistently, I've had to restart Baker Creek seeds, and I don't have that issue with any other seed companies that I use. So I'm going to plant one of these and a couple of these just to make sure that they get in here. So Paul Robeson. So I'll put 2 of these in one hole. 1 on the side. And then I'll do 2 Emma Gardner, 1 in each hole. We'll see what we get. Maybe both of them will come up and it'll be amazing, and that's a good problem to have. But just in case, I'm going to mix and match a little bit. Next, for our slicing tomato, I haven't grown this one before, but everyone else seems to like it, so I'll give it a shot. So we're going to do the Brandywine. Yeah, so this one is supposed to be earthy and sweet at the same time, grows up to 1 pound each. So here we go. We'll try this one. Brandywine. I don't know anything about it besides that it's a slicer and everyone else says it's delicious. I just try to do some orange, some red, some deeper, some purple, some, just try to get a really good variety. The orange ones typically are a little sweeter, I have found. But I like a good balance. I grew so many sweet ones last year that I would say my sauces and my soups and stuff were definitely on the sweeter side. So I was on the hunt for the perfect eating tomato. And so what I grew was a lot of things that are delicious to eat. And the soups and the sauces were yummy, but I kind of would like a little more balanced approach this year. So, okay, the next slicer, we've got 2 more slicers. The next slicer is the German pink. I don't think I've grown this one. No, I haven't, but it's similar to the next one that we're going to grow. And I thought, well, let's see which one I like better. So, German pink. Tuck that one in. Okay, so the next one we're going to grow is the pineapple. I grew this one last year when my cat decapitated a few of my seedlings. I went to my local nursery. I have an amazing local nursery that I do not have to start seeds. They could definitely supply at a wonderful price and great variety a lot of the things, but some of these they do not. The only way to, I mean, I probably could request them maybe, but if you want to guarantee that you get all the varieties that you want, best practice is to start them, plus it's a little more economical and I enjoy it. I enjoy this process. So anyway, when my cat decapitated some of my tomatoes, she actually decapitated the Dr. Witchy, and this was the only one they had left that was like close to it or whatever. So I got this and it was really great too. So I figured I'd get the seeds and grow it myself. These were large for sure. The last category is the largest amount that we're growing of one category. These are our paste tomatoes. So these are the ones that are super meaty, they're acidic, they are what you think of for like the Roma style, like they're like the sausage looking ones. And so these are the sausage shaped ones. And so these are the ones that typically, if you're going to like do a big canning thing, like this is what you think of. Again, I can with all of them. I mix everything together because I don't mind having the balance of flavors of sweet with acidic, and it just makes a different, again, it's something that you can't even buy. It's so different. So anyway, first one, pink ox heart. I love these. Oops, which one was I supposed to do first? The one. I love these ox heart ones because they're like the size of a slicer, but they're a little more elongated and like a heart, like a heart shape. And they're so meaty and prolific. So pink ox heart. So this is a paste, but these ox heart ones, honestly, they're so thick that they're like the size of, oops, two in one. They're like the size of a slicer. So you could definitely, if you're wanting like one kind, that could go for a slicer or a paste. You can make a sandwich or a sauce. Pink ox heart is definitely one of them. The next one, Jersey Devil. I love the Jersey Devil. It's very prolific, very long. I saw Luke from MI Gardener talking about this once. You know, sometimes he goes live and talks about the seed varieties. He convinced me. He was right. I grew these, and now I grow these every year. My cat decapitated them last year, and then he was sold out, so I ended up getting some from Baker Creek, but I'm going to use his packet too. So we're going to do the Jersey Devil. I ended up buying another packet from him, another one from Baker Creek, and I'm just going to go with MI Gardener seeds. This tucked in. Okay, the next one is the Amish paste. Super prolific. These are like a lot of YouTubers were always talking about Amish paste, and I was like, they're not as big though. I don't know. They are so prolific. They make up for it, and they're delicious, and they're super meaty. So Amish, it's too many. Amish paste is a great one for canning. This is a production tomato for sure. You're gonna get so many. So I like the ones that are like the shape and the flavor of the Roma, but they are the indeterminate style, so that I don't have to deal with 50 pounds of tomatoes coming in one day and 50 pounds coming in the next day. I can deal with like 10, 15 pounds every day over the course of the summer instead of having to process it. I like to get to process it. Makes more sense in my brain. Okay, the next one is an orange ox heart. Same thing. The ox hearts are meaty, delicious. You can use them as a slicer or a paste, and they're kind of prolific too. So orange ox heart, what does this say? This says 16 to 32 ounces on average. So 1 to 2 pounds basically. These are big. These are big guys. And they're a little sweet, a little acidic. I'm a fan. Oop, too many. There we go. Tuck those in. Now this soil was pre-moistened. I don't remember if I said that or not. So I'm going to lightly water them in when we're done, but this soil was pretty saturated. Okay, now this one is fun. This is a striped Roma, and it is an indeterminate, so you get an actual Roma. Little fun color variation, and it grows in the indeterminate style. Most Romas are determinate, so they're going to come in all at once. I think MI Gardener sells ones that are semi-determinate, so they can kind of grow. You can treat them like an indeterminate, but you are going to get a major flush at a time. So this one is a full indeterminate. So striped Roma. I'm excited about this one. I grew this one last year. It did really well. Really well. Now I promise you I will come down and stare at these seeds tonight as if they would have grown, because like any good gardener, we plant seeds and expect them to come up tomorrow. Okay, the next one is the Sheboygan tomato. I grew this one last year and I was happy with it. It was a really good, steady, heavy producing paste tomato. So I'm a fan. Sheboygan tomato. They basically are, they all have a similar vibe, these paste tomatoes, but they're just different sizes, different levels of sweetness and acidity. And that's the part I like, is getting to have a good mix. Okay, got those three tucked in Chiardi, I think, or in Ciardi, I'm not sure. I think it's in Chiardi. This, I've grown this. It's yummy. I'm in it. Not quite as meaty as the other ones, but had a little bit of a different flavor, so I'm into it. I just like growing a variety. And last year my plan was to save seeds and be really like diligent about that, and I didn't. So this year I think I'm gonna really kind of focus on that a little more, because I think it's an important skill to get better at. You'll hear me say this, I don't come from a place of fear. I come from a place of trying to not have anxiety. And the best way I know to not have anxiety about the things that are going on that I have no control over is to focus on the things that I can control and the skills that I can develop and the things that I can do to make my home a peaceful, positive, loving place. And one of those things is I don't want to be worried about prices at a grocery store. I don't want to be worrying about availability at a grocery store. So I love to buy and develop relationships with local farmers and people that are growing animals and food and all that kind of stuff. And then I like to develop my skills here so that I can do my part. You know, I don't have to know how to make gourmet cheese, but I like to know someone that knows how so that I have an alternative place to purchase it if supply chain issues continue to be the way they are, or if things change. Okay, so here is the next one. It's the Federley tomato. This one just produces like just big old long paste tomatoes again and again and again, and I'm into it. So here's the Federley. That one was probably a little deep. That's okay. He might find his way out. You should only plant your seeds twice as deep as they are wide. So tomato seeds really don't need to be planted very deep. And every once in a while, you know, when I have a little helper, or if I poke the holes too deep, that seed, they only have so much energy, right? They only have enough energy to break out of that shell and send a root down and send a little leaf up to the surface. And if they're too low, they'll use up all their energy and they won't break through. So don't plant them too deep. Okay, this one is the Blue Beach. This one I planted like 3 times last year. My cat decapitated it. I overwatered it, like all the things. And I never actually got a Blue Beach. So I'm excited to try again. So these are supposed to be high yield red paste tomatoes. They're about 10 to 8 ounces. So like Roma size, a little bit bigger. Yeah, so Blue Beach, take 2. Like I said, I'm not a master gardener by any means. I'm just a girl with a backyard that likes to grow my own food so that I know where it came from, what went in it, and it's not got a long delivery time. So it's as fresh and nutrient dense as you can get. And I like giving that gift to my daughter. So sometimes I kill plants. I kill lots of plants. And I get better every year. So I killed a lot of tomato plants last year, and this year I'll do better. Okay, this year, hopefully, this year I'll try to do better. So this one is paste indeterminate, 4 to 5 ounces smaller, high yield. This is a hybrid from Johnny, and it is a hybrid of a paste plum and Roma. So this is a Grand Granadero. So we're going to plant this one. Same thing happened with this one last year. I planted it and I thought I had it in the right space and a cherry tomato came up. I don't know what happened to it. So we're going to try again. All right, he's tucked in. He's taped back up. That was our last one. Okay, let me double check to make sure I didn't leave anybody behind. Nope, that's the last one. So what I'm going to do is get these watered in. I'm going to get them covered with some fine vermiculite, and then I'm going to get them on the heat mat. I have a tray that has the exact number of openings, so I'm going to get these on that tray. You don't have to use vermiculite. I like to use vermiculite because it helps with watering issues. So it helps so that if you underwater, it keeps the moisture level. And if you overwater, it keeps the moisture level. So it basically is like the goal. It helps you be a little more Goldilocks. Helps you keep your watering level just right. Helps make sure there's not any mold or mildew issues on top, or algae, which is bound to happen a little bit when you put a humidity dome on top and let this stuff grow. So we've got some Rudbeckia that we're still waiting to finish germinating. So we'll just slide these guys right on there. Then we'll give them all a little spritz. And they'll be germinating in no time. And then once those germinate, I will pull the dome off and we'll let them continue growing. Once they have their first set of true leaves, the first leaves that come up are just the plant's little leaves trying to get a little bit of photosynthesis. And then the second set of leaves are its first true leaves. Once those come up, I will separate them and put them in their own pot. And we will have all of our tomatoes started for the 2025 growing season. So I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today while we started all of our tomatoes. I'm so excited that it's finally tomato season and we're getting this thing started. So I want to thank you so much, like I said, for hanging out with me today. I want to also thank you for the likes and the comments and the shares. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. We have a whole lot more growing and preserving and building projects and fun things to do. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye, my friend.